Alright, so welcome back YouTube. This video is going to be on some stuff that nobody ever tells you about the Hudson Bay hb19 spa. It has 19 stainless steel jets, the lounger, and all that. First thing is first, it comes with two power setups that you can do. You can either do the 120 volt or the 240 volt. Let me tell you a few things different. It's easier to wire up a 120 because it comes with a cord down in here. You take the control panel cover off here and there's a cord already attached. You just pull it out, plug it into a GFCI or whatever 120 plug you have, and you're good. Problem with that is the jets only go about half power, maybe 3/4 power, but they're not really as strong. And also you'll have forever to get your thing to heat up. We plugged it in on the 120 the first night and it took, I'd say, probably 10 hours, and it only went from 66 to 82. So the next day we turned around, disconnected the 120 because it's simple. You pull this off, like I said, open up the control box for the spa pack, and inside there it's self-explanatory if you know anything, and you can read it all. There's a jumper that you'll disconnect, it'll tell you on the box. Undo the black and neutral wires, pull them off, and the ground, pull the whole wire out. Stick in your 240, it shows black, white, red, and white in there. It tells you where to put them, tells you where to put your neutral. Close it back together, run the power over to a shut-off. Most of them want you to have a shut-off. This is the manual shut-off right here. As you can see, it's an AC shut-off, 60 amp. You can pop it, just pull that little plug out, it'll shut off my whole entire set for my spa. Then you want it to run to, my spa is a 40 amp, which is the hb19. It is a 40 amp. I have it on a 50 amp GFCI breaker because they recommend at least a 40. And then from there, it runs up to my main panel here. So with the breaker sets, if you're not an electrician, have an electrician or somebody install it to make sure you don't electrocute yourself. You do need a GFCI on the 240 breaker outlet because you don't want to be sitting in here and a short happen and it just electrocutes you. The 120 comes with a GFCI on the end of the plug. I still had plugged it into, I installed a GFCI plug and then plugged it into that when I had it plugged into that. The 240 puts out way more power. As you see, this is the waterfall. It shoots way out, about halfway across almost of the total distance of my spa. When I had it on the 120, it would only come out to about maybe here. And my jets, as you see, they're like bubbling up and everything. They didn't do that on the 120 very much. You could feel them, but they weren't shoving out the top, as you see, like the leg ones are and stuff on the lounger here. Okay, so that's the 120 240. 240 is way better. 120 will work, but 240 is way better. Also, let me shut these off. Inside, all the different jets, there's 19 of them, but they're slightly different. As you see in that center one right there, it's just a little one. These are bigger. So what it is these bigger ringed ones, you can adjust them on and off. You can turn the jets off that you're not using, and it'll cause all your other jets to push harder. On top of that, the ones that have the bigger rings on them, inside, if you put your finger in there, you just barely move it, you can adjust the little plastic nozzle that's in there in different directions, so you can aim it in different spots to your body. So that makes a big difference when it comes down to directing them. Like when I'm sitting over in the other corner over here, when I'm sitting in this corner, I like to take these jets and I'll move them from my lower back. I'll push them out to get the edges, pull them in to get the inside by my spine and everything, and it works totally great. Sorry, my cover's in the way here. The cover comes with connections to hold it on, but they don't give you any screws to actually screw the buckles. You have to put the buckles on yourself. So you have to put the cover on, find out where you want your buckles, and then screw them in. I suggest, like I did, you extend the buckles as long as they can, because you can always tighten them up more, but you can't make them longer. So once these are in place, you can't do anything if these aren't long enough. So I suggest making these as long as possible. Connect your bottoms to them, stretch them down once your cover's closed where you want them, then disconnect, hold your thing there, and drill your screws for all 4. Okay, but in high wind, you're gonna have to strap something over the top of that. We bought this extra cover here to do that, to help protect it from sun, and the wind will lift it and pull it off. So you have to have something else. Like, we live in Colorado, it's really strong winds where I'm at throughout the year, and we don't want to lose our cover. Okay, so this is your control panel here. It's pretty easy. This is your pumps. Push it once, it's on low. Push it again, they go on to high. Push it again, they're off. It will do its temperature reading. We have it set at 100 every 3 minutes, or 2 minutes, sorry. This control light right here over the cold will come on, flashing, and it means it's taking the temperature, and it'll tell you the temperature. This is your LED light button, your second button. You push it, it's down here. It's too light out here to see it, I think. Yeah, you can't see it, I don't think. Yeah, you can't really tell. But down there in the footwell, you can see it coming on different colors as I push it. So what that does is, you push it once, it'll come on, and it'll go into the rotating color modes. It'll flash through all the different colors for a second, and then goes off. Second, goes off, and it rotates through a bunch of different colors. If you push it a second time, it turns it off. You push it again, it'll come on to the next color, which will be a solid color, and it'll stay that way. Push it, turns it off, so on and so forth. There are like 4 or 5 colors that will stay solid: red, blue, green, I want to say like a purple color, I think it was, and you only get like 4 or 5 solid colors that stay on. The rest are colors that come on and rotate between them all, and it's one set of rotating between a bunch of different colors, including your solid colors, and then one for each solid color that you do get. So that's what that is. You can adjust up to 104 because by law it can't go over to 104. These are your jet controls. This turns them on and off. Let me show you. So my jets are on. If I turn it off, it turns them down to almost nothing. It never quite shuts them all the way off, but then that turns them on. This, like I said, is your waterfall. Turn it on and off by twisting it. Twist it counterclockwise, it comes on. Clockwise, it goes off. There's 6 seats, but it's really about a 3-person, maybe 4-person seater. 1 in each corner, and a lounger is like the best. And then you have a side seat here with 1 jet, a side seat there with 1 jet, and a side seat here, right there with 1 jet. So all together, it's a really nice hot tub. If you search for the value, you'll find it in a lot of places cheaper than, you know, just grabbing the first place you find it. Also, you want to make sure whatever you're putting it on is level. We went and built this gazebo, which we're going to enclose in, but this is just for now. And you make sure it's level, because if not, you'll see as soon as you add the water, it will be like up on this headrest and not on a headrest over here, or vice versa, or whatever. And you don't want that, because then some of the jets aren't going to be covered all the way, which is bad. You don't want it to burn a motor or anything up. So you want to make sure that it's as level as you could possibly get it. When taking this side panel off, it does not look like there's anything different than any other panel. So directly under your control panel here, there's going to be screws, 3 right here on this left side. Then there's going to be 1, 2 here. Then there's 1, 2 there. And then 3 on that side. So altogether there's going to be 10 screws that you have to undo, and then this whole entire side panel will just pop off, and that's where all your filters, your wires, things like that are. I take that back on the filter, sorry. Your filter is actually in here. You'll unscrew this and pull your filter out. But down here is going to be all your plumbing, your pipes, your electrical. It's going to be your shutoff valves, things like that for servicing. So when you wire it up to 240, you'll have to get in there to do that. When you first start the hot tub, you're supposed to pull that panel off, check everything out, make sure there's no leaks when you fill it with water before you ever put power to it. You do not want to put power to your hot tub if it's empty or not completely full. If so, you have a very good chance that you're going to burn out your pumps and your heater, your heating element, and all of that. So make sure you fill it up, then plug it in. I don't want power running to my hot tub without water, or I just destroyed my hot tub pretty much. So don't get too anxious, heat it up and do all that after it's plugged in, but it's gonna take a while to heat, so I wouldn't be too much of in a hurry to try to plug it in before it's full, because that ain't gonna work. It's just gonna burn up your shit. I'm trying to think here, what else? When you fill this up, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take your filter out the first time, and you're gonna sit it in the footwell. Sorry, it's all super bright for some reason. So you're gonna take your top off, pull your filter out, sit it in the footwell while you're filling it. That way it can soak up all the water it needs and everything to hopefully keep from getting airlocked in your system with bubbles, because your filter didn't fill up all the way, it had air still in it. And then you'll put it back in there and you'll close it up. It will cycle every, I think it's 2 hours for the filter system that it comes standard as. You can adjust that to where it'll do it every so long. It filters for so long. Like when it first comes on, every 12 hours it'll filter for 2 hours. That's what it's set at. So you can adjust it so when it comes on, it can filter for 6 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever you choose. Maybe you've got a high use hot tub where you've got lots of people in and out of it all the time. You're going to want it to be a higher filtering time to make sure it's nice and clean. So make sure you know about that. When you first turn it on, it runs a system check when you first put power to it. And it'll run through a system check, it'll run some codes, then it'll pop up with PR for programming. It programs itself. And once the PR is done, it'll pop up with the temperature of the water and everything, and then that's when you know it's starting to do its normal thing. That takes about 4 minutes to 6 minutes, I think it is. So once that's all done, then you'll test your water, make sure your water's good, and add chemicals if needed. We're on a well water, so we have softer water. That's what all this is. We have to add some calcium to it, calcium hardener or whatever it's called. And if you wonder what this is, this floats around and collects body oils and things like that, so that it's not getting in your system and gunking up everything. And every once in a while you pull this out and you just wash it. That is our bromine floater. Instead of chlorine, we're using bromine. We don't like the smell of the chlorine, so we're going with bromine. You can do a little research on that and learn more about all that kind of stuff and the chemicals. The electrical part, when you're running your 240 wire, you're going to want this big thick, it's called, this big thick stuff right here is called 6-3 with ground. What that means is it's a 6 gauge wire, and the 3 stands, there's 3 wires inside besides your ground. That's why it's called 6-3 with ground. There's going to be a hot, a neutral, and a ground. You're going to have black for hot, red for hot, then you're going to have white for neutral, and either green or copper for ground. That is the wires you need to run 240. You can't run a 12 gauge wire through here. It doesn't support 240 volts. You can run the 12 gauge wire, which is this wire. It's a 12-2 with ground if you're running the 120. But like I said, the 120 just don't quite get hot enough. It don't work fast enough, so we ran the 240. We're gonna build stairs so we can actually get in and out, but we have that for now. Well, I think that's about it for now. If you have any more questions or anything, or if I come up with any more ideas on it, I'll make some more videos later. Leave any questions or comments or likes or dislikes about it in the comment section. Hit that like button, bell notification, and subscribe.